Peace and love, and welcome once again to Black Diamond Worldwide Outreach. Today I want us to talk about our thinking because we are in the month of wisdom, and I know that the faculty of wisdom lives in each and every one of us. You know, sometimes we talk about God as omnipresent, all powerful, all being, but also all knowing, knowing that wherever we are, the Spirit of God is filling us with intelligence, filling us with the wisdom, filling us with what we need for the moment we need it for. And so today's topic for our motivational message is, I am blessed with confident thinking. So you know that's got to be our affirmation. Put your fist in the air and at the top of your lungs, say with me, I am blessed with confident thinking. One more time. I am blessed with confident thinking. And you got to say the word confident like you know that you're confident that you're confident. So one more time. I am blessed with confident thinking. How wonderful is that affirmation this morning? I always reminded of one of my favorite verses in the Bible. Is taken from 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. And the regular version says, the King James, I guess you would call it, for God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. One translation I found this week said, God did not give us a spirit of timidity or cowardice or fear, but gave us a spirit of power, love, and sound judgment, personal discipline, abilities that result in a calm, well-balanced mind with self-control. All of that is within us. All of that is there for us to experience and to express in our life in a good way. But the first thing that I think we have to understand is, why can I say that I am blessed with confident thinking, especially when we have had moments in our life that have left us feeling stupid? Let's just cancel that word out of our vocabulary. You know, it's so funny that in the hip hop generation, we use stupid as a term of endearment, right? There's so many like derogatory words that we use in that culture that are supposed to be encouraging, but they're really not. You know, when someone is funny, you know, they can make us laugh. They just have no cares, no inhibitions. We go, oh, he's stupid. Oh, you stupid. And it's a term of endearment for a lot of us. But we have to learn to watch our words. We have to learn to watch the force behind the words that we're putting out into the universe, because they're creating energies around us. And as they create energies around us, they manipulate our wisdom. They manipulate what we think our wisdom is and what we consider our wisdom to be. So we must know that we do have that faculty of wisdom. April is the month of wisdom, the faculty of wisdom. We're going to talk about that a lot this month, because there's so many people that don't feel that they have what it takes to speak when they need to speak, to do what needs to be done, to go into different rooms and meet with different people and be totally comfortable in their skin. It's all about the wisdom. So we must know that wherever we go, we are smart enough to be there. We have enough sense, enough brain power to be in the rooms, to be in the places, as they from Hamilton, right? The room where it happens. We have what it takes to be in the room where it happens. And even if we don't, we have to realize that it's not a mistake. It's not an embarrassment. It is a learning tool, right? Sometimes you got to fake it until you make it. But if you have that desire, if you have that passion in you that says, this is what needs to be done, don't feel that the mistakes or you said something wrong, you didn't do something right. Turn it into a learning tool for yourself. Turn it into not an embarrassing moment, but a learning moment, a teachable moment for yourself. So affirm with me, fist in the air, top of your lungs, I am smart enough to compete with the best. One more time, I am smart enough to compete with the best. So, with that affirmation, and we're going to have to use it constantly, because, listen, this is why I believe in affirmation, because affirmation is not God preaching to the choir, right? Affirmation is not you saying something that you necessarily already believe. Affirmation brings an aura into our world that affects our mind. It affects the people that are around us. It affects our situations, our environment, our social communications, right? To become that which we are speaking, to become that affirmation. So understand that as we're doing these affirmations, it's not because I know that you believe them, it's because I know that you don't. And in some cases, it's because I know that I don't. But as we continue to speak these words, we build an energy around us that encapsulates these words and makes it real for us, makes our world shine with these words. So these are the words that we're speaking of today. We have to stop underestimating the wisdom in us. Stop underestimating the wisdom in us. We talk about wisdom. Now, Webster defines wisdom as the ability to discern inner qualities and relationships. It is insight. It is good sense. It is judgment. Now, one of the funniest things in our existence to me is that, some people, they go to older people just because for advice, right? Just because they are old, right? People go to older people because the thought process behind it is, which to me is so weird. The thought process behind it is that since they are old enough, since they are old, they're not stupid, right? They have the knowledge, they have the wisdom, and they can share with me. And then when you talk to the older people that we go to for wisdom, that we go to for advice, they'll tell you that they're just winging it too. They don't know what's what, but because of their experiences, because of they went through, because they saw someone do something, it creates something in their memory, right? And they're able to regurgitate that information back to you. And that is what we're doing in our life. We have to realize that we are all one, right? So if one person can understand something, like just think about all the different people we have in our world. We have scientists and astrophysicists and biologists. And some of us, because we don't understand a lot of those words, because we don't understand what they're really doing, we feel that it can't be us. We feel that we don't have the brain capacity to have that knowledge or to even learn that knowledge. So we must stop underestimating the wisdom in us. Since we are all one in God, it means then that because there are scientists, because there are smart people in the world, we are a part of that universal knowledge. We are a part of that aura of wisdom and intelligence and genius. It is all for us to understand. If others can learn, so can we. But it's important for us to understand how our mind works. I want to talk about the brain just briefly, but in a second. But first, I want us to consider how we think in different categories, right? So the act of thinking, the force of thinking, the energy of thinking, whatever's going on in this wonderful gray matter that we have on top of our heads, right? The baseline of it is thinking. But there are also many categories to that thinking, right? So there's random thoughts. I'm running out of milk. I have to pick this up. I have to go to the cleaners. Your dreams, where you want to go on vacation next, your happy place, right? Those are just the kind of the random thoughts that come into our head. The next the next category in our thinking is the teaching and speaking, giving out information. But that comes from another category of thought, which is learning. We learn in school. We learn from one another. We learn from experiences. And the beauty about life is that we can only learn what we can learn, what we have the capacity to learn at that time. But it means that we have to go through our phases of learning. Think about how we started school, right? We all started with preschool because the government said we had to. But it is what it is. We all started in preschool, then kindergarten, and then we started going up in numbers, right? First grade, second grade, until we were in high school. But you have to pass each grade in order to advance to the next stage. That is life. That is what life is today. We have to learn what we have to learn in these moments that we're in order to get to the next stage. But we must also understand how when we learn, it becomes a part of us. It becomes a part of our lives. It becomes a part of who we are. And we're able to use what we're learning into other areas of life. We're able to use what we've learned in the teaching, in the talking. And the other part of our thinking process, our thinking category, is memory. Oh, and that can mess us up sometimes. Sometimes because of our memory, and these have to do with the senses. We'll talk about the senses in later times. But when we think about how the senses affect us, right? The things that we see. I'm talking about really our five senses, the things that we see, the things that we hear, the things that we taste, right? We taste. I was talking with my family the other day. They were talking about eating frog's legs, right? So now, I know that I've eaten it before and I wouldn't want to eat it again. That has informed my thinking, right? Because I've had it before, and it may be that I ate something wrong, or whatever it is, whatever is in our lives that has touched our senses, the sense of touch, the sense of taste, the sense of feeling, right? Whatever it is that has completed our senses, that has touched our senses, now become the things that inform our life. They inform our experience. So once we begin to understand that and begin to learn that we are all a collection of all of our experiences, we can better understand how our wisdom works and how we can use it in our life. Let's talk about the brain. Because the brain, is the most fascinating thing on the planet. Just different kinds of brains. But let's talk about us, the human brain and the brain structure. Now, the one thing I loved when I was in psychology class is neuroanatomy, because it just fascinates me how the brain works and how we use the brain, right? Science still can't tell us how we think, what we think. They can look at the brain and say, okay, this is the part of the brain that does this and that. But how we think is another story. And when we understand what the brain structure is, we can Google a picture of the brain. If you haven't seen one by now, Google it, look it up. But the brain is a combination of folds and what is called synapses, or synapses, however you pronounce it. So there's these little spaces in the brain. And sometimes there is electricity that is passed from one synapses to another, or just literally chemical puffs of air almost that connect. So we take these things for granted, right? Moving our hands, moving our talking. It's really the brain sending signals to one synapses to another. So what we have to consider now that, it's science. It's not that my brain works that way and yours doesn't. All of our brains work in the same way. So the question we have to ask ourselves now that we know how the brain functions, how it works, are the right messages being sent through the brain, and how can we control those signals? Well, they say that we should eat right, we should exercise, have some physical activity, we should meditate. All those things create a baseline for great brain activity. But we must also realize how our collective experience is showing up in the brain function. Again, we are all a collection of our experiences. That's why we can never judge someone based on how they react to us in a certain way, because everyone is a collection of their own experiences. People are coming with, here comes the T word, their own trauma into their lives, affecting our lives. What are we going to do with that information? Are we going to allow someone else's wisdom, what someone else learned in their lives, and they turn that around for something negative? Are we going to allow that to affect what we got going on here? Are we going to allow someone else's trauma, someone else's drama to affect our lives in the way that it does? So these are the questions that we need to ask. We need to really ask, how are these things showing up in our body? We got to realize that all these things that we're talking about, stress, headache, heartache, indigestion, back pain. Have you ever had a situation you go, I can't deal with that, my head hurts already? You see how these things are affecting our body? How we're letting these outside influences come into the cells of our body and affect it in such a way that it stops doing its perfect action. That it produces headaches, it produces all these aches and pains and groans and moans in our body, in our world, in our life. And it all comes from these embarrassing moments. Listen, if you're in a situation, just know that you are supposed to be in that situation. The words that you need to speak will come to you. And even if it's the wrong words, again, turn it into a learning experience. You have not failed. You have learned what not to say. You have learned what not to do. But as you continue that quest for learning, all those, look, I can't even pinpoint one embarrassing moment that I even want to share with you. It's been a lot. All throughout life. And it's really because we're looking at other people trying to be in the norm, trying to not stand out too much because we don't want people to make fun of us or talk about us or whatever the case may be. And these embarrassing moments inform everything that we do after that. So once we begin to understand, we can say this affirmation, fist in the air, say with me, I now greatly overcome all embarrassing moments in my life. One more time, because it needs to kind of soak into our consciousness. So let's say at the top of our lungs, as loud as we can, I now greatly overcome all the embarrassing moments in my life. I greatly overcome. I learned something new and wonderful. I learned something new and wonderful. Stop being embarrassed in those moments. Stop looking at, oh my God, what will they say? What will they? We all have embarrassing moments. How about you turn it around? If someone wants to laugh at you, how about you make the joke? You turn it around, because when people realize that the words that they're saying are affecting us, they will keep talking about it. But when we take ownership of those words, when we know that we have the wisdom to take ownership of those words, we can say what we want, we can turn things around for our greater good. Then we know that truly we have the wisdom of God. We have the wisdom of this all universal force. We must always be open to learning. We must always be open to learning. And as we continue to learn, know that your brain has the capacity for it. A lot of people think, oh, that's just too much for me to learn. I remember when I started in my psychology course and they said that I had to take a math course. And the math course was trigonometry. And I'm like, what? When am I going to even need trigonometry in psychology? I don't even know how to spell it. And you're going to tell me that I had to do it, but I had to go through it. It was really an essay that saved me because I was lost. But I got tutoring. I had someone that was able to help me. My teachers were there for me. And now I know how to do these different things. But I came with the fear, right? My experience throughout the years of me failing in math, making careless mistakes, informed that situation. So that when I got to it, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't even know the first thing. How do you even, I don't know what to do. But then I had to do what I'm telling you to do this morning. I had to do what I'm telling you to do today to realize that I'm a child of a living God. That just as I say that my God is omniscient, my God is all-knowing, and if I'm going to say that I'm an expression of God, it means that so am I. It means that I have the brain power, just as each of our brains has the folds and the synapses. Just as each of our brains, even like special needs people, if you work with people that have special needs, you realize that there's nothing wrong with them. They just learn differently. They just look at life a little bit differently, but they are still human beings. They are still the people on this planet that we have to share this planet with. And just like them, just like us, we all have the brain capacity to receive information. We all have the brain capacity to learn and let it sit there and also let it inform other situations. The one great thing that I love about math is that it can be, and this is just different things, but I'm talking about math, right? Math can be, or just different things that we learn in our lives, it can be intersituational. It can be intersituational, where we learn a concept in one area of life and we go through another area that's not even related to what we're learning over here, right? But because we have that knowledge, we're able to infuse it into other situations. We're able to sit back and say, in math, this is true. I wonder if it is true in other situations, right? So that's why we have to be open to learning, because the more we learn, is the more that we're able to teach, is the more that we're able to learn for ourselves, to decipher for ourselves, to judge for ourselves in our own brain. But it comes with learning. It comes with opening our mind. It comes with being receptive to learning. And not only that, not only learning, but knowing that we have the capacity to learn, knowing that there is intelligence in us, there is a great genius in us, that whatever we are put up to, whatever God has put in our lives, wherever we are put, however we need to talk, however we need to be, it is wonderful, it is great, it is perfect. Fists in the air, top of your lungs, say with me, my mind is open and receptive. My mind is open and receptive, and I learn all that I can with great genius. I learn all that I can with great genius. How wonderful is that? How wonderful to know that we are no longer stupid. We are no longer uneducated. We might not have the education needed for something, but there's schools. You can look it up. I remember when I was a kid growing up and you asked the teacher something and they said, look it up. It was difficult. You had to literally write it down, go to the library, ask the librarian, look in the bibliography, open the book. You remember encyclopedias, right? We had to literally go word for word and be like, okay, what am I looking for? Now we can just take our phones out. Oh, I want to learn something? Google. And it's done. You know, look how easy it is to even learn. Understand that that can be us. Understand that just as technology has advanced to give us more information, so does this brain power, because it was a human being like you and I that created these things that we now enjoy. It's a human being like you and I that created the great knowledge of the world. Look at all the knowledge that we still use today. If it was somebody like you and I with flesh and blood, understand that that one universal power lives in us as well. And whatever we decide to do, whatever we need knowledge for, it is ours for the taking. Don't be afraid to take a deep breath. We also got to focus on that too. Taking deep breaths are important, especially when we're talking about wisdom. Look at the benefits of a deep breath. It reduces stress and increases calmness. It detoxifies the body. It increases energy and lowers blood pressure. And that's only a few things that taking a deep breath can do. So do one with me. And you do it by, smelling the flowers, right? So you inhale through your nose. You hold it for a second. So inhale through your nose, smell the flowers, smell the flowers, smell the flowers. And now blow out the candles, release it. Right? So when we face those moments where we feel that we don't have what it takes, that we don't know what to say, take a deep breath. It clears the mind now. And hopefully it will clear, I know that it will clear your mind into such a way where you know that you have the brain power, where you know that you have the capacity, where you know that as you reset your thinking, you can go forward in confidence. Go forward in confidence. Go forward knowing that you are a child of a living God. And all that you need is yours right, not later on, right here and right now. We all live in the now. And if, again, this is the moment that you're in, this is the moment for you, you will find what you need. So learn to reset your thinking. You have the brain power to get through anything. Just always remember that. You have the brain power to get through anything. You are not stupid. You are not someone that, maybe you need some extra learning, but you're still learning. You still have the capacity to do it. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself, and don't allow other people to give up on you too, because some people will do it. That's why you can't give up on you. So you got to keep affirming. You got to keep saying to yourself, yes, I am something wonderful. I am something beautiful. I am smart. Affirm with me one last time today. Fist in the air, top of your lungs. I am intelligent. There is genius in me. There is ability in me. Let's say that one more time. I am intelligent. There is genius in me. There is ability in me. I can solve anything. I can solve anything. And right here and right now, come on, fist still up in the air, right here and right now, I am blessed with confident thinking. I am blessed with confident thinking. Friends, as you go forth now, we all say, oh, we're blessed with health, we're blessed with money, we're blessed with all these things. And then when it comes to our thinking, we think that God has taken that away from us. No, we're blessed with everything, including wisdom, including intelligence. And as we know this, I know for sure that you are walking into any room knowing that the things that you say are smart, they are intelligent. You are facing every issue that you have to face in life, knowing that you have genius in the palm of your hands. Express that. Live that. And as you do, I know for sure that you will just continue to enjoy this great and wonderful life in a powerful and a meaningful way. I love you. Be blessed.